I'm Dr. Jett, and I've had a passion for public health for over 30 years. Now I'm in a position to affect change, and these are the critical conversations about health and our community, with people who can help me make those changes. Good morning. Welcome to CEO Live Talks. I'm your host, Dr. Jett, and today I have Dr. Kellie Watson with me, and welcome to our second edition of the show. You know, you brought up something interesting. I'm gonna go back to the early part of your career, but you brought up your son, and society has become more accepting in differences in our culture in terms of hair. You have changed your hairstyle. Your son has changed his hairstyle. How was that perceived in the school system now? What was the first impression? Because I know in the work area, it was totally different.
Yeah, it definitely was. My son laughs and, he's like, I always had just no hair. Y'all just cut off. I was like, well, you were a pain in the behind when it came to haircut. So.
Yeah, I understand.
So that will be why. But once he decided to let it grow out, I was like, I am fully about expressing how you are. Just comb it.
Right.
And I'm good, right? And so his hair is pretty long. Sometimes it's twisted. Sometimes it's, an afro and curls, and sometimes. But I think that he's probably had a little bit less, of course, than what we as Black women face.
Okay.
I mean, I always had a whole lot of hair for a long time, and then cut it all off, and I was Halle Berry. Everybody had that, But I've also been someone that didn't want to spend a tremendous amount of time in my day doing my hair.
Right.
And
no 4 hours, no 6 hours.
Yeah,
none of that.
So I'm going to save it for the salon, and then that's it.
Right.
And so I have also get bored. I would get really bored with my hair. So there was quite a span of time where I would just change my hair all the time, let it grow out, cut it back off, dye a different color. I'll just whatever. Right. Hair was an accessory.
We would say that was youth.
Yes, hair was an accessory. I'm gonna do all these things to it. Put some extensions in it, take them out, just whatever. Right. Wear braided. The first time that I cut all of my hair off was when I was going to law school.
Okay.
Had a natural. Went to the barbershop to get it done. Like, that's what I was doing, and really loved it. Like, it was good. Until that end of the first year, in between first semester, where you start interviewing, right? And I'm interviewing, firms are coming on campus and they're interviewing, and none of them ever said, your hair is really short, or why you wear it that short? But they all looked at it, and it was always this thing, and I got no job offers.
Really?
None. So I spent my summer, I clerked for a judge. That's no money. And then I actually ended up working, I went to school in Nashville, so I ended up working for the Tennessee Board of Regents.
Okay, yeah, I'm familiar.
And all women in that office, all women attorneys. They have kids, nobody, and it was perfectly fine. But I also had let it grow out a little bit more, and I put a perm back in it.
So I've heard that in the workplace, and it's funny I bring it up, that in society they wanted African American women to have a softer look.
Yes.
Have you ever heard that?
I did. And if you Google, if you say professional hairstyle, our hair does not come up.
Right.
It's going to be a white woman with their hair pulled back in a bun, or a nice little sleek ponytail. It's nothing that has to do with how we wear our hair, and especially how we wear our hair naturally. But yeah, that was my first lesson. I was like, okay, I need to, because I remember having this conversation with my hairstylist and with my mom. I was like, I'm gonna have to put a perm back in it. I think I'm gonna have to let it grow out. And
it's interesting you say that, because my sons lived in Hawaii for a few years, And they came back. One of them had locks. One of them was trying to grow dreads. And I told one of my sons, because he went into the workforce, and I said, he called me one day, he had problems getting a job. And I said, well, son, I mean, I probably have never told this to you before, but remember when you called your daddy or Uncle Tom for wearing suits and having a certain haircut?
Yeah.
Because you had to acclimate to society.
You do.
And you have acclimated to what Hawaii was and what they allowed. You're back in the U.S., and the way racism works is a little bit different against you, so you have to understand that. And so eventually he made the change to cut his hair off.
Yeah.
And so he was able to get
Gainful
gainful employment.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't have to do that.
You shouldn't.
So that is very disturbing. That's why I was curious, did your son ever get, or anybody ever call you about your son?
Not about his hair. My child, he's very quiet. He was one of those children who would be in the class and be like, please don't call on me. I might know the answer, but I don't want you to call on me. I'm good. Just let me be right here. So he's, and he's pretty laid back kid.
Okay.
So no, I mean, no one ever called, because he was not going to bring that much attention to himself one way or the other, right? Good or bad necessarily, to doing that way. Now, I think that, like I said, being in the firm, and I'm not that conservative.
Right.
I went in law school. I had a couple of tattoos. I was wearing my hair short. I had a bunch of ear piercings. It was a whole...
Which is different for attorneys, because they want you to be more on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, they do, yeah. That's not necessarily how I ever really entered, right? And so for me, it was... I wasn't expressing me, right? Like, if I have this tattoo, make sure I can cover it up. Right. If I wear all these earrings, let me make sure they're little and no one's, and so having to get the firm, so the next summer, of course, I had no issues. I found a job, law firm in Cincinnati. They hired me out of law school. So by the end of that second year summer, I had a job going into my last year of law school, which is optimal, right?
Yeah, that's what you want.
Right. But, at that point, I had, like that, let it grow back out, and during the school year, I would braid it up. I still wasn't probably fully wanting, a perm, but it is what it is, right? And that's how I felt about it. Like, it is what it is. I gotta have a job.
Right.
Now I got student loans.
Right.
I gotta survive here, and this and this is the career choice that I have made. Right. So I can remember even interviewing for firms, and they're like, we're black and we're gray, and I'm like, okay, no.
Not really.
I need a little color. I need a little something. Right. Whether it be my shoes or whatever. And they were like, you're supposed to be very. And I was like,
very vanilla.
And so I struggled with that a while, and even the firm that I was in. Thankfully, at the time that I finished, it was So once I got there, and the summer you study for the bar is like, that's all you do.
That's hell.
Right. That's all you do. So I braided it back up. I was like, the last thing I'm trying to worry about is hair. So it's back in braids, I'm working part-time and studying for the bar. And so after that, I just kind of left it like that for off and on, braided, and because like I said, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. Right. But I feel as though at this point in my career, like, this is my hair.
And this is what it's going to be.
This is what it's going to be. Right. And I can pull it, make it look professional. Right. If that's what you want, because it already is. Right.
This episode of CEO Live Talks is brought to you by Park National Bank. Pay with confidence. Your Park debit card is the fast, safe, smart way to pay this holiday season. Get more details online at parknationalbank.com.
If you or someone you love is considering therapy, contact the professionals at Park DuValle Community Health Centers today.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
Communities in our name.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
You're always on time.
Because we serve the community.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here.
Park DuValle Community Health Center, providing quality health care, one person, one family, one neighborhood at a time.
My Park DuValle Community Health Center is right here for them.
Park DuValle Community Health is right here for your children's primary care. At Park DuValle Community Health Center, our team of highly dedicated pediatric physicians administer state-of-the-art care right here, every day. Because serving the community is more than part of our name, it's our mission. Park DuValle Community Health Center, providing quality health care, one person, one family, one neighborhood at a time.
Your son, several years ago, was involved in an incident where 2 people were killed.
Yep.
And a gun was pointed at him.
Yeah.
Walk me through that scenario, because I would about lose my mind if that had happened to my kid.
I did lose my mind, I feel
Right.
like. And, you know, he was with my dad.
Okay.
And it was, trying to grieve,
Mhm.
you know, and as a parent, you've got to protect your children,
Yeah,
right?
and you're not there.
And I'm not there.
Right.
And it's still something that I grapple with,
Right.
right?
Where was he at? What store?
Kroger.
Okay.
He's a Kroger in Stony Brook on Hirschborn and Taylorsville Road.
An unlikely place. That's something you would think would occur.
My parents, and actually his other grandparents also, had always been very active in my son's life.
Mhm.
And so picking him up from school, 'cause his dad and I would still be at work, or was what they did.
Mhm.
And so that was a Wednesday. My parents would pick him up on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Mhm.
And it was a regular day. I mean,
It always seems like a regular day.
I talk
Right.
I talked to my dad every day.
Right.
Like, that was my guy. Like, we literally talked every day. Something stupid happened, something funny. You know, he's mad. You pick this up, do this. He would, you know, whatever. You know, you need to get your car washed. You didn't take, you know, whatever it was. You need to take care. You know, every day we talked about what it was. The conversation for the most part of that day had been, my son was going to a sleepover on the weekend, and I couldn't find a sleeping bag.
Okay.
So we're going back and forth about this sleeping bag, like literally all day. He's texting, I'm texting back.
Sure.
He picks him up. I'm in a meeting. And my child calls me. I don't know the number, right? Cell phones, I don't know that number.
Oh,
I'm in a
Lord.
meeting, right? I didn't take it. I was like, I don't know who that is. Same number calls back. And I was like, well, I remember telling whoever I was with, somebody's trying to reach me because this is the same number.
Right.
Hold on. And it was my child. His voice on that phone is something I will never forget. Never. The fear, the sadness, just all of it. And you do stuff you don't even know. Like, I think back and I can remember him telling me that granddad had been shot. And I was like, no. What? Go back. But as I'm saying that, I'm literally already outside the building. Like, I'm outside, I'm in the car, I'm driving there. And it's just, you asked in particular about the hate crime piece of it. That whole, like, there's 2 people that were killed that day.
Right.
My dad and Miss Vicky and her family were feeling the same thing that we
And
were.
your son
And my son
witnessed
yeah,
um,
and had
your
to
dad
run for
and
his
Vicky.
life. And had to run for his life. And, you know, letting him continue to grow up, right? As I deal with my own,
Right.
oh my God, this happened and I was not there, is a check for me on a daily basis, right? Can I do this? Can I go here? And I'm like, you know, and especially, I mean, he was in middle school, but you have to learn how to let him grow up and be a man and be that independent, self-sufficient person in this world. And so I had to deal with that on a daily basis. And we talk. He and I talk, and we talk about it. And as I told him, I said, I struggle. I said, so if I am holding too tight, you need to say, Mom.
But it
is it's a daily fear.
With your, well, first of all, it's two or three things going on. The first aspect, your son calling you, and he's trying to tell you your father has been shot, right?
Yeah.
And now you're trying to get there as fast as you can. While you're overwhelmed with grief.
Right.
So it's pretty traumatic at that. And you still got to try to protect your son.
Yeah.
And you don't know the scenario
Right.
of what you're going to. So you still continue from that to raise your son, but the person who you talk to every day is not there.
It's not there.
Right?
Yeah.
And so how have you dealt with that? Because, you know, me losing my father, I understand. How has your journey been?
It is been just that. It's a journey, and I feel like I'm still on it. You know, things still will happen, and I'll be like, oh, I need to call him and tell, you know, and then you realize that
Can't do it.
You can't do it. Like I said, as active as he was, you know, in my childhood, he's been that active in the childhood of his grandkids, you know. And so my son runs track, so just going to track meets, like he would have been there, right? He probably would have been there before me. It's a gap that
it's hard to feel.
Hard to feel, and you just live with it, right? And not just for me, anybody, you know, that was October 24th, 2018. And since then, there is not a week that goes by that someone does not say to me, I knew your dad, and he did this for me, or he helped me with this, or he was such a, you know, and some of these people I'm familiar with and some people that I am not, but he was such his own just presence. And if you knew him, he was your friend, you were his friend, and that's all you needed. And so the impact that he has had on not just us, his kids and grandkids and wife, and, you know, like I said, he and me are strangers, so the city was his friend, right? Is huge. And I did not understand that.
Right.
And having community really support and help us, because that's really what it was and has been still, is important. The compassion, all of it has just been overwhelming, and I don't think that we would have been able to begin to heal without all of the love and support that we've had, not just from our family and our circle, but from the community as a whole.
Hi, my name is Farron Jackson. This is Shakoya Gurton, and we're both medical assistants here at Park DuValle Women's Health. We specialize in pregnant women, mammograms, ultrasound, and any vaginal complaint. So we offer free pregnancy tests. We offer glucose testing for our patients who are 27 weeks pregnant. We offer mammograms if they need one, if they find any lumps in their breast, and we also offer ultrasound if there's any abdominal pain or a pregnant patient. It's important for our women to keep up with their bodies because if they was to have a lump in their breast and they don't perform monthly, everyday breast check, it could be a lump there that may need a mammogram, and we could catch it just in case it's cancerous. You can contact us at pdchc.org or you could call 502-774-4401, extension 1142.
Hello, I'm Dr. Swanee Jett, CEO for Park DuValle Community Health Centers. First of all, I want to welcome you. This is a Disney experience as you walk through the halls of Park DuValle with a diverse Wakanda staff. So enjoy. As you begin to look on the outside, walk in, you will see brand new floors, nice sign with Community Health Center on it, and our registration information area. As you walk through the facility, you will be introduced to pharmacy, adult medical, X-ray, and laboratory. Also, within Park DuValle Community Health Centers, we have women's health, OBGYN services, as well as pediatrics. Now let's take a tour upstairs. First, we have our dental services, where we have some highly esteemed dentists that always are willing to help. We also have our signage of our core values, patient first. Our next stop is the Behavioral Health Wing, named after Camarilla Walker. It is a service that I'm highly proud of because we are able to assist people in the community with behavioral health needs. We also have the training center. This is where you first come in for orientation, but also anytime we have a training or update, this is the learning center where we provide that. We conduct WIC, nutrition, and open enrollment for healthcare. It's one of the highly touted services we needed that combines with our pediatrics, our women's health, our dental services, and WIC. So this is a one-stop shop facility for everybody in the community. This is the C-suite, including the CEO, my office, the COO, the Chief of Human Resources, the Director of Clinical Operations, and our comptroller. This is where board decisions occurs on a monthly basis. The board meets fourth Thursday of the month, and we make a lot of governance decisions, but also decisions about Park DuValle. Hopefully you have enjoyed this virtual tour. Thank you. Let's shift gears a little bit. Walk me through, because now you're working at MSD.
I am.
I think you sort of gotten away from your passion a little bit.
A little bit,
little
but
bit.
not necessarily. When I started at MSD, it's a brand new position as the Equity and Compliance Officer.
Mhm.
So that was a month or so before the protest started for Breonna Taylor.
Mhm.
It was in the midst of COVID, and I changed positions, left the mayor's office and went to MSD. And
that was a big jump.
yes, it was a big jump. But my life since my father was killed has been different. And even before that, I'd been sick, right? And so I had just finished breast cancer treatments and everything just a couple months before my dad was killed. And so, you know, a couple of traumas in a short period of time will make you change perspective.
Right.
And I needed to take a step back from the full schedule
Right.
that I had before and wanted to be more present.
Right. No
For my
press for your
family.
son and your family.
Right.
Yep.
And so the job at MSD, still doing equity, was like, this is great. The executive director, Mr. Tony Parrott, was very supportive of really trying to have a focus of equity and inclusion at MSD, and really jumped in and allowed me to establish our initiatives in a way that would be embedded into the way that utility is working.
Right.
And so it was really great to be able to do that and to have support from not just him, but the board, the other leadership within the organization, and really begin a process of educating and training, and like I said, and really putting an equity lens on what the operations of MSD are. And that's super important within the community, right? We do flood protection, we do stormwater drainage, and we do regular wastewater drainage. And so it's one of those things you don't know until you know, until it's not happening, right? But it's the groundwork of what happens within a community. And so MSD's been a really good community partner that I don't think individuals have known about, whether it's dealing with diverse businesses, whether it is their local labor program or community benefits. So it was a welcome change to be able to go into a place and build it in such an atmosphere where all of the leadership and everyone was very much.
And that makes a big difference in terms of, bringing in DEI, trying to make sure you work with suppliers.
Right.
And did you establish a certain amount of matrix and performance standards?
We did. And like I said, and they were already well in their way in doing that. And so it was really about extending the rest of that throughout the organization, and not just on, whether it be a federal regulation or guideline that we were trying to enforce, but really fully making sure that equity and inclusion were felt in every department and division. And so we were really able to build a framework, I think, and working that continues, and that he's very much a part of, along with the support of the board for MSD. In November of last year, I changed jobs at MSD. The general counsel, who had been there for a while, and she was a lady of small stature but really big shoes to fill, retired, and I have taken her place, and so have been in transition between wrapping up my other position and changing into this one these last few months. And I still they still let me,
dabble a bit.
Dabble a little bit, yeah. Because of, and I think, I've had HR background, I've had other pieces. Doing DE&I was a easy fit for me, and ensuring it in that way, along with the compliance piece that I've always been able to do. And so the organizational framework and the pieces at MSD that are still there for us to continue to build off of, even though I'm maybe not be the one leading it.
You still have oversight.
Yeah, some pieces.
Well, we're going to come back at another time and talk about your position. I want to say congratulations. It was nice to have you on your set. Thank you, everyone. Today, we had a very delightful conversation. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Enjoy your weekend, and thank you again.